Here's how to write an equation in point-slope form. Recall that point-slope form is y minus y1, which equals m times the quantity x minus x1. In this equation, m is of course your slope, and x1 and y1 are a point on the line. The x and the y will stay x and y in your final answer. So here's an example. Write the equation of a line in point-slope form that has a slope of 3/4 and passes through the point -6, 7. What we'll be doing is substituting 3/4 for m and -6 for x1 and 7 for y1. And we just plug it into the formula. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So that gives me y minus 7, because my y1 is 7, which equals 3/4, my slope, times x minus a -6. And remember that when we subtract a negative, it's the same thing as adding a positive. So let's clean that up a little bit. Y minus 7 equals 3/4 times x plus 6. And that's your final answer. It's a little different looking from other equations that we've written, but this is point-slope form. It's the equation of the line that goes through the point -6, 7, and has a slope of 3/4. Let's look at another example. Remember that standard form of the equation of a line is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c cannot be fractions, so they have to be whole numbers, and a has to be a positive number. So here's an example. Write y plus 7 equals 1/2 times the quantity x plus 2 in standard form. Notice the equation of this line is in point-slope form, but I need to turn it into standard form, so it needs to look like this one up above here. First thing I'm going to do is distribute that 1/2. So that gives me y plus 7 equals 1/2 x. And then when I distribute 1/2 times 2, think of pizzas. You have 2 half pizzas. That's 1 whole pizza. So I've gotten rid of my parentheses. Now I need to have my x and my y on the left-hand side of the equal sign. So to do that, I'm going to start by subtracting 1/2 x from each side. And that will give me -1/2 x plus y plus 7 equals 1. Okay? Now I need to get this 7 over on the other side, because I can only have terms with x and y on the left. So I'll subtract 7 from both sides. And that leaves me with a -1/2 x plus y equals -6, because 1 minus 7 is a -6. Now I'm very close. I have my x and y on the left and my number on the right, but a is a fraction and it's also a negative number, so I need to take care of that. So I can make it a positive number by multiplying everything by something negative, like a -1. But I'd really like to get rid of that fraction, so I'm going to multiply by the denominator, the number on the bottom. So if I multiply everything by a -2 and distribute 3 times, that'll get rid of my 2 problems, both the negative and the fraction. So -2 times a -1/2 is a +1. -2 times y is -2y. And -2 times -6 is a +12. So here's my final answer written in standard form. Let's take a look at another example. This one's a little bit easier. We're going to take the equation of a line written in point-slope form and turn it into slope-intercept form, which is the one we're probably most familiar with. That's our friend y equals mx plus b. So let's write y plus 3 equals negative 1/4 times the quantity x plus 2 in slope-intercept form. First thing I want to do is get rid of the parentheses by distributing. So negative 1/4 times x is negative 1/4 x. And negative 1/4 times 2. Let's do that over here. Negative 1/4 times 2 over 1 gives me, and I can actually do some canceling here, that's going to give me a negative 1/2. So minus 1/2. Okay? Now I'm getting very close, but I need to get this 3 over on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So that's going to leave me with y equals negative 1/4 x. Oh, and now I have some fractions again. So a negative 3 minus 1/2. A couple ways to do this. Real straightforward, that's negative 3.5. But when I'm doing slope-intercept form, I really like to have it as a mixed number. I'm sorry, not as a mixed number, as an improper fraction. So I'll do 2 times 3, which is 6, plus the 1 on top is 7. So that's going to be the same as negative 7 over 2. So minus 7 over 2. So my final answer is y equals negative 1/2 x minus 7 over 2.